awkward moment when someone tells you to smile into the camera and your face just freezes and forgets how to smile? You try, but your lips become tight, your eyes panic, and the result looks somewhere between confused and constipated. Well, we've all been there. Now, imagine my world. I'm a dentist, and I make a living looking into people's mouth. But you know what's funny? When they come to me, they try to keep their lips sealed as tightly as possible. It's as if I was asking them for some trade secrets. They cover their mouth when they speak, mumble as they laugh. Some apologize, even before I say hello. No, not for being rude, but for their teeth, for taking time and allowing things to become bad. But every time, I tell them the same thing. You're here, and that's what matters. Because honestly, I don't blame them. See, we dentists have somehow acquired a reputation somewhere about the police officers and haunted houses. But here's what people don't get. I'm not here to scold you, nor am I here to judge you. I'm definitely not keeping a secret scoreboard of how many chocolates you've had in the past couple of years. And flossing? Come on, everyone lies about flossing. So yes, I have made peace with that. What I'm here for is that moment when someone sees their reflection after treatment and pauses. Just a little pause. Not to check for perfections, but to recognize themselves maybe for the first time in a very long time. A softened jaw, a real, unfiltered smile, and a face that says, I'm okay. No, it's not that dramatic. There is no music playing in the background. But for me, it's everything. Because what I do is not just about fixing teeth. It's about reminding people that they are not broken, and there is no reason for them to hide. Their smiles, whatever shape, size, or shade it is, deserves to be seen. Because then, maybe, just maybe, smiling won't feel so awkward the next time. I've been in practice for almost 2 decades now. But initially, things were quite different. People assume things. But smiles change things. They softened the walls even before words. They made people look at me twice, not at my credential, but at my intention. And then slowly, moment by moment, people started trusting me, not just with their teeth, but also their stories. See, dentistry, at least the way I have experienced it, is not about perfection. In fact, it's all about the presence. Because when you sit on that chair, you are not just opening your mouth, you are reopening years of silence, insecurity, and sometimes even trauma. I once had a father walk in who was avoiding the mirror for decades. He had not smiled in any of his daughter's birthday pictures for the fear of ruining the photographs. Imagine carrying that weight in every family picture. Imagine loving your daughter so much, but still hiding the joy. Well, we worked together, quietly and patiently for months. And then came the day when finally he smiled. He laughed freely in front of his daughter. I was so overwhelmed that I quickly excused myself outside the room. And yes, I cried. Because when you restore someone's ability to smile, you don't just fix something, you return something that was not supposed to be taken. The right of that individual to show up fully. But here's something that we do not talk about enough. A smile not only changes your face and makes it more beautiful, it transforms your brain, your hormones. your posture, and sometimes even your relationships. But beyond the science, there's something even more crucial. A smile that says, I'm here. A smile that says, I belong. And a smile that says that I do not need to hide. So, dear friends, this is why I do this. Not for the perfect smile, but for the ones that are missing. The ones which are tucked away by fear. The ones hidden by shame. And the ones which are dimmed by the world saying that you are not enough. Yes, I fix teeth. But in reality, I make people more comfortable with themselves. And this is what I have learned along the way. The most powerful healing does not begin with any prescription or procedure. It begins with eye contact, with safety, with letting someone know that you are allowed to occupy space and you do not need to work on that smile anymore because you've had it all along. So next time, dear friends, when you see yourself in the mirror, do not check for flaws. Check for kindness. Because sometimes the biggest transformation is just allowing yourself to smile again. Now, there's a saying that time has a wonderful way of reminding us what truly matters. With time, as my patients started seeing results, things shifted. Not just with their teeth, but also their confidence, their energy, and their body language. Fear shifted to trust. Silence to conversations. And then there was a question that started echoing in my mind. Why can't dentistry be more different? More gentle, more artistic, more human? This question took me on a journey from my busy clinic in Mumbai to the lecture halls in Vienna. And then from the sterile labs to the dusty streets and villages where every chair was borrowed and power was a luxury. But throughout this journey, everywhere that I went, one thing stayed with me: curiosity. Because when you ask yourselves why, again and again, eventually you unlock a wow. And that became my quiet superpower. So, here's the belief that anchors it all. Every person deserves to smile. Not because it looks good in selfies or because, it's good for the soul, but because when you don't smile, when shame, trauma, or lack of basic access takes it away, we all lose something. Surprisingly, did you know that more than half of the world is silently living with untreated oral health issues? Which means 3.7 billion people are hiding their joy behind closed lips, not because they want to, but because somewhere along the way, someone made them believe that they do not deserve to be seen. So friends, this is not about perfect teeth or about perfect smile. This is about people who dim their own light because no one ever told them that you matter just the way you are. Let me narrate an incident to you. Her name was Richa. She ran a small boutique and had 2 school-going kids. One morning, she came to the clinic, phone in one hand and a dabba of roti sabzi in the other. Sorry, doc, I'm late, she said. Had to pack lunch, drop the kids, and chase the plumber. So now, let's just finish this before someone else calls. We both laughed. Richa had chipped her front tooth when she was biting into a metal ring. Long story. She had ignored this for a year because she did not prioritize herself. Now, between work, home, and the kids, though she was everyone's problem solver, she was her own last priority. During the session, I asked Richa, when was the last time you actually took a break for yourself? She said, honestly, doc, right now, sitting on this chair. What she said was not meant to be profound, but it stayed with me. What Richa needed was not a smile makeover. She needed a reminder which existed above the levels of being a mom, a madam, and ma'am. So, after the procedure was over, I handed over the mirror to Richa. Looking into the mirror, she said, "You know what, doc? I don't care about the tooth, but suddenly I feel alive." That's it. No drama, no tears. Just a quiet moment when a woman remembered that she is not just surviving and is allowed to feel alive. I've met many women in my career who are strong and resilient and have come up and told me, "I did not think that I mattered enough to fix this." And trust me, I've seen their postures change when I've looked into their eyes and said, "Yes, you do." That's what the Smile Revolution is all about. One tooth at a time, one human being at a time, one story at a time. Now, let me just take off this white coat for a moment, because I'm not just a dentist. I'm also a painter, a baker, a traveler, and a photographer. A quiet lover of street corners, stories, and books. These are not just side notes, but the very things that fuel my practice. Painting teaches me patience and perspective. Baking teaches me balance and intuition. Photography has taught me to focus on light, even in the smallest spaces. And traveling, well, we all know that smile is the best passport in the world. And books have taught me to listen to things that are not being said out aloud. So friends, by now, it is clear that when I'm sitting with the patient, when I'm working on their teeth, I am not actually just working on their teeth. What I'm actually doing is holding up space for their hope, their history, and their pain. Because being a good professional does not mean being more robotic. You do not become a good healer by being more mechanical. You become a good healer by being more human. Now, here's the most important part that I want every individual in this room to carry home today. You don't have to be a dentist to make someone smile. You don't need a white coat to show that you care. And you definitely do not need to be a specialist to make a difference. What you actually need to do is to show up and show up with empathy. Ask people the right questions and wait long enough to hear the real answer. Make safe spaces where people can exhale. Because in the end, we don't want to be fixed. We want to be felt. So, what's the big idea that I have come here to share with you all? It's not about dentistry. It's about humanity. Healing does not require any fancy tools. All it needs is a little time, a little truth, and a lot of trust. We don't need more experts. What we actually need are people who are willing to sit with someone else's silence. You too have a chair where you walk, you live, you love, and lead. Make that chair a safe place where smiles reappear, pain softens, and someone looks at you and says, "I don't know what it is about you, but I feel much better when I am around you." Now, that's the unseen art of healing. That's a legacy no degree, no title, or no award can capture. Today, I am not just a dentist. I am a reminder that caring is an energy and not a profession. Today, I am not asking you to change your job. Today, I am just asking you to change the way you show up in it. Whether you are a CEO, a student, a painter, or a teacher. You have the power to heal. So come, join me, not in a movement. A quiet, beautiful rebellion against coldness. A revolution that does not require slogans, only smiles. The Smile Revolution. A moment of presence at a time, one life held, one truth honored, and one presence respected. That's how we are going to change the world. Not with more smiles, but with more heart. And remember, someone, somewhere is waiting to smile again. Maybe, just maybe, because of you. Thank you.